Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a box using the standard primitives. Make sure I draw it out on a grid. I'm going to use Alt and W to enlarge my screen and press F4 to apply edge faces so we can see the edges. I'm going to then input the length, width and height. So I've given direction here. Length is 35, width is 60 and height is 15. I am also going to change the length segments to 3, 3 and 2. So 3, 3 and 2. Okay. I'm also going to make sure that this is centered, so I'm going to right click on the X down here, and on the Y I'm going to right click again, the up and down arrow, to make sure that it's completely centered on the axis. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to right click the model, go to convert to, and convert it to an editable poly. Once it's converted, we're going to have all the options that we need to edit this thing. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is select the edge face. The shortcut for that is 2 on the keyboard, or you can just come over and select it. And then I'm going to go across, do a marquee select and select across the middle. And then what I'm going to do is go to connect. So I'm going to click connect. Once it's applied, it connect all the way through. Alright, the next step is just moving and scaling these things to make it have the basic shape of a guitar as indicated on the image I've provided for you. So what I'm going to do is select the vertice now, vertex 1 on the keyboard, and then I'm going to marquee select. We're going to do a lot of marquee selecting, so get used to doing that. So select across, and then I'm going to use the scale tool in the Y and bring it down somewhat like here. So I'm scaling in the Y. I'm going to marquee select and make sure I have all of these selected here at the back. So this is the back of the guitar. I'm going to go to move. So right click and move, or W on the keyboard. And then I'm just going to pull it back. So I'm not scaling it at this point, I'm pulling it back. I am also going to select the top. So the top, marquee select the top, and hold control marquee select the bottom. So we've got 6 vertices selected there, and I'm just going to scale it in the Y a tiny bit, bring it in. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is the same thing I did to the bottom. I'm going to marquee select the top of the guitar, right click move or W on the keyboard, and then I'm also going to pull it out a bit. I'm going to do the same thing, actually I'm going to do the same thing with the top and bottom edges, vertices. Scale them in tiny bit, select both, bring it in, and I also want to scale this bit here, these top 2 bits, so scale so it's smaller than the main section that we have, the back end, sorry. Yeah, on scale, so scale in Y. Just move it in. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to marquee select this section here, because this is where the hole is going to be. So I've marquee select, so I've got the top 2 vertices and the bottom 2 vertices, and I'm going to scale in, and I'm going to try and create a square here. So I'm going to do the same for this side, so make this look as square as possible, and I'm also going to move it in so it's above the midsection. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is actually I'm going to make this bit a lot smaller. So select the top, scale it in, because this is where the arm is going to be, the arm of the guitar. I'm also going to move over to my edge tool. So that's 2 on the key shortcut on the keyboard. I'm going to double click so I select a ring around the middle edge loop, and then I'm just going to move it up slightly, not too much, just about more than it was. The next step is I'm going to select a polygon that is 4 on the keyboard. I'm going to select the edge where I want the arm to come out of. I'm going to then go to extrude. So we can find extrude by right clicking and you have extrude here, shortcut, or we can find extrude in our editable poly section here. So I'm going to click extrude and I'm going to manually do it. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make 3 extrusions. So I'm going to extrude out just a tiny bit. I'm going to extrude out a tiny bit again. And then I'm going to make a long extrusion here. Yep. No measurements involved, just moving it. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is underneath this handle that we've created, I'm just going to select this polygon here, the handle, under the handle, just the one, and then I'm just going to bring it up in the Z axis. So move it up in the Z axis, so that way we can get like the handle and the yeah. Alright, so that is going to be like the first page done. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is we're going to continue on with this handle, and we're going to do something slightly similar. So I'm going to extrude a small bit, I'm going to extrude again, and I'm going to extrude for the end bit here. Okay, so now we've created a bit which is going to be the handle or the tuner for the guitar. What I'm going to do is select vertices, the edges, select edge, and then I'm going to select one edge and then hold shift and select the edge right next to it, and it should loop all the way around. So I've selected the edges all the way around the guitar from top to bottom. If for whatever reason it doesn't work for you, you can go into, so let me just click right up here on the navigation tab, and you can marquee select as well, and it will do the same thing. So I've done a marquee select on the handle of the guitar. Alright, and then we're just going to throw a connect in there, one single line. Alright, so the next step, what I want to do here is I am going to select the 2 vertices in the handle. So the vertice going across, just follow what I'm doing, and the opposite side. So I've only got these selected, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah. And then I am going to scale out in the wire as well. Not too much, just a little bit. Like so. Alright, then we're going to go to polygon 4 on the keyboard, and we're going to select both the top and the bottom. So 4 edges, so the 4 polygons, we're going to select top and bottom. Now what I want to do here is use the inset tool. So I'm going to go to the inset settings, so not the inset per se, but the settings of the inset. And then on the top area, it's asking for what type of group do we want. Right now it's just on the singular group. I want to be by polygon, yeah? So I've changed the group mode to per polygon, and now it's divided it into 4 sections. And then I'm going to press the tick button. I'm going to leave it as 1. I don't need to change it. If you need to modify it, you can move the values up and down. Okay, Then I'm just going to press the delete key. So I've pressed the delete key. Okay, now what I want to do is press the going to border, so we're in border mode, and then I can just marquee select everything here, the handle, because we've only have 4 open loops. And then if we press bridge, we can bridge all of them together in one go. Yeah. Alright, so we've created a hole for the guitar handles. And actually, I think what I want to do is make the this bit of my guitar a lot thinner. So I'm going to scale it in Y and just pull it back a tiny bit more. Actually, let me scale all of this bit. So I'm going to select all of this bit also and scale in. You don't have to do this. I'm just making mine a bit more. Yeah. Alright. So the next step of what I want to work on is the whole the stuff that makes the sound. So I'm just going to come here and select the square that I've made and press delete. So I've not marquee select, I've just select the top 2. And then what I'm going to do is, using the border tool, I don't know, mine might be a bit big, let me scale it in a bit. Using the border tool, I'm just going to use the move key, so that's W on the keyboard. I'm going to hold shift, and while I'm holding shift, I'm going to pull down. Yeah. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is to create the image or the essence of it having an inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to scale. I'm going to hold shift, and in the X and the Y, I'm going to scale back. So if I press Alt and X, you can see it in the see-through mode here. So let me make it a tiny bit smaller, like this. And then I'm going to go to move tool again, hold shift, and then pull down. So I'm not going all the way through, I've just gone down to the bottom bit. And then what I'm going to do is select my, using the edge tool on the keyboard, I'm going to select both edges, and then I'm going to use the bridge tool, same here, bridge. Okay, so now what we have is an inside of the guitar. So I'm just going to select these two and go back a bit. Okay, so we've got the main bulk of the guitar very super low poly complete. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to throw a mesh smoother on top. So make sure that nothing is selected, you don't have anything selected. And we're going to go to modify list, and we're going to go down to mesh smooth. Okay, so we've thrown the mesh smooth on, but what it's done is it's made everything look like it's a gummy bear type of sweet. And what we want to do is give it nice deep edges. Alright, so how do we fix this? Okay, so let's delete the mesh smooth. And then what I'm going to do now is use the connect tool and probably swift loop tool to create edge loops all around this. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to create an edge loop around the bottom. So I'm gonna so let's use it as a swift loop. So if you don't have your ribbon up, so it's this little button here, this little white tab where it says show full ribbon. If you hover over it, you click on that, and then you're gonna have swift loop in the edit section. Yeah. So if I click the swift loop, you can see that it's saying, oh, we're going to do the cuts around here and there and whatnot. Okay, so anytime you click, it will create a Swift loop. So what I'm going to do is go right to the bottom of my guitar, and then as low as possible, I'm going to click it, and what I've done is I've created another loop and another edge around it. I'm going to do the same for the top. I'm also going to do the same for the middle section but above, so we can have it for the handle as well. I'm also going to do it at the bridge of the neck, so I'm going to do it on both here. So here, so click, going to click again, so these two here, so I've done 3 there, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. Yeah, moving up to the handle, we're going to do the same here, click, click, do the same on the outside before we get to the break area, and the same on the opposite side. Alright, for the inside of this now, what I'm going to do is just select using control. I'm going to go around and select all of the insides for this, for both of them. Okay, so all 8 edges are selected. I'm going to click the connect settings now. I'm going to say I want 2 segments. And then I'm going to increase the value so they go as close to the edge as possible. So mine is on 92. Yours could be on whatever, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's close to the edge. And press OK. And we want to do the same thing on the inside for where the drum thing is going to be. So I'm going to select the edge. So I've selected all edges here, and we're going to do the same. So connect, and it's using the same information from what I had before. Press OK. Alright, let's do the same thing. So I use Alt X to make it see-through, Alt X to make it not see-through anymore, and I'm going to select the inside. And then we're going to go on connect settings again and press OK. Okay, that should be enough. So now if I make sure nothing is selected and I go back to my mesh smooth, drop a mesh smooth on, you can see it's held up, it has more integrity on the overall shape, and we can increase the iteration to apply smoothness to it. Yeah. Okay, so my circle is not so circle anymore, so let's go back down a level, and what I want to do is select my vertices here and here, so use control to do both of them. I'm going to also say show end result, that's here under your tab section, show end result, and then I'm going to go into scale mode, and I'm just going to scale it out a bit, and then what it looks like, I want to select all of these bits, make sure there's nothing selected under. So if I've got stuff selected under like this, I want to hold the Alt key and then marquee select that area to make sure that nothing's selected. And then what I'm going to do is just move these back here, so the shape can have a more rounded look. It's not a perfect circle, but it's fine. Okay. Okay, so we need to fix this bit also. So I'm gonna hide the mesh move by ticking the I, and then what I want to do is marquee select. The easiest way to do this, I think, is if we select all, marquee select across the handle, and then go to connect, and we've created a connection using the same information we had before. Press OK. Let's see that now. Okay, and that's kind of fixed it. I want to lower these though. I think they're a bit too wide, so I'm gonna do select in the editable poly, select all of these, hold control, select the top bit as well, and I'm gonna scale in as well. I'm also going to use the Alt button to deselect the outside. So I've got those selected, and I'm going to scale that in as well. And I'm going to do the same here. Okay. So we've got the mesh move here, and we've got a solid guitar. It might be a bit elongated, doesn't really matter. You can always tweak it on the lower form. Yep. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to, so that is the front bit. Now we want to create the tuner keys and the other bits for the forks. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just create a standard primitive box, and then I'm going to just drag it out on the floor. And I'm going to give this some information. So I'm going to make this one 4. Let's say my dimensions are 10, 4, and 0.4. We'll just put 0.5. 0.5. And the segments, length segments I've put here are 7, 2, and 1. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to use the select and place tool. So I've select that, and then I'm going to the arrow, your arrow will change, and then you can just move it, and you can see it will slide along and be placed in any direction that the surface that it's on. Yeah. So that's what that tool does, and so I'm going to use that to place it directly on the guitar here. And what I can also do, if I right click and move, I can make sure that it's centered in the Y, which is what I want, not in the X but in the Y. And then I am going to convert to an editable poly. Now, using the vertex mode, I'm just going to shape these. You can make any shape you want, it doesn't really matter. So let me deselect those, deselect those. Didn't even do it segment. Okay, so let's bring that back. Okay, I think that's fine. So that is going to be whatever that is called. I don't know what it's called. The bit where the strings get attached to it. And then what I'm going to do is create some cylinders. So I've created this. I'm going to create a cylinder, a small cylinder. So I'm just going to do that here. This doesn't really need much information unless we're going to go into detail. So I'm going to make the height sides. I don't need any. I'm just going to keep that on 1, and the sides I'm going to lower to 12. It doesn't need to have that much information. And again, I'm going to use the select and place these onto the thing that we just made. Let me scale it down. So the radius, let me put the radius down and the height down. How many do I want? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want 6 of these. Alright, so what I'm going to do is so I'm going to move this to my semi-middle state, and then I'm going to pull out in the Y using the shift key to duplicate. It's going to ask, I want a copy. I'm going to say, yeah, I want 2 copies. And then I'm going to select both of these here, and then just so I've select all of 3 of them, and then use the shift key to drag them across as well, and go OK. So they should be roughly the same width apart. Not that it matters too much, to be honest. It probably does. I don't play guitar, I don't know, but whatever. Alright, so actually I'm just going to manually shift these in. Okay, cool. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bridge thing, and then I am going to attach all the little knobs that we just made. No, they can be still moved afterwards by selecting and moving them in the elemental state. Alright. The next thing I want to do is make the tuner forks for the guitar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a cylinder. I'll use a cylinder. Oops, sorry. Create standard primitive cylinder. Bring the cylinder out. How do we do this? And then do I want to be both? Okay, let's be. I'm gonna be cheap. I'm just gonna use a let's use a box. Let me create a box. Put 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 3. Alright, so I'm gonna scale it in. Actually, it doesn't need to be 3 on the length segment. Convert to a poly. I'm gonna start just to mess about with this a bit. So I'm gonna select both edges, use scale tool, and bring them in. Try and create some roundness. Gonna kind of do the same for the bottom edge. So bring them in, scale them in, move them up. I'm gonna select from the opposite side or the middle side, and then I'm just gonna scale in a bit. Deselect, bring them like that. And actually, let me show you another tool. So I'm gonna select the edge, sorry, the polygon tool, the polygon at the bottom. Make sure I'm on move, and then with my ribbon open, I'm gonna come over here to where it says align, and I want to align to Z. This will flatten it out. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is gonna make sure that my radius is small enough so that it could fit in. So select radius. actually, so cap segment, height segment, let's put 2 in there, let's convert to poly, and let's select the top and scale down. Scale. Okay, let me show you another tool. I'm gonna select the top end. I'm gonna go to this align option up here. So I'm gonna click align, and then I'm gonna click the fork. So I had the head selected, and I want to align it to the fork bit here. And it's gonna say, do I want it as pivot, pivot, pivot? I'm gonna go okay. So let's move it to the bottom, but we can move it to the top. But we now know that this is centered perfectly within its own within its own axis. So let me scale that a bit down there. Okay. Scale that in, move it up a bit. Okay. Just effect, pivot, center only. Sorry, I went to the hierarchy and just to center this. So I went to hierarchy, effect, pivot, center to itself. And then I am going to just attach the head. So right click, attach, and then you can attach. Make sure you right click after to finish to say you're done. Now I'm going to go to my angle snap, and now I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees so it's on its side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over to the handle. So it comes out like this, and then I'm just going to extend this bit here so it goes in, so it disappears in. Make sure that it's in the middle. Then I'm going to just duplicate this 3 times. So center it, press, I want a number of copies, 2 copies from the 1. There you go. And then I am going to also select these 3. And then I'm going to say I want to mirror them. So I'm going to mirror them in the, should be in, I want a copy. And I want to do it in the Y. And then I'm going to move the offset, so Y is going across here, because I'm going to move the offset, and then whoops, that jumped. So move it up slightly until it's poking out the same direction, and press OK. And yeah, that looks okay. And then what I'm going to do is just individually rotate these so they look like, so they're facing different directions and whatnot. So I'm rotating. Alright. So what I can do now is with my do I want to, okay, let's select editable poly on the guitar. I'm going to right click, I'm going to attach to see what these looks like. Okay, no. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse the mesh smooth because I think the body, the shape of the guitar is finished. I'm going to collapse to yes. And then I am going to attach the stuff we just made. They don't need any mesh smooth. Bam, 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 bam. It's messy. Okay. And the last step that we're going to do is use the string tools and turn the strings, is it the string? Create shape line. We're going to use the shape tool and create guitar strings. So I'm going to go to shape, line, and then what I'm going to do is do it from the top view. So when I press T for top to go into the top view, I'm going to go into default shading. So up here you can change it. Automatically it should be in wireframe, but I'm going to change that. then I am just gonna go over. If you hold shift, your string should be straight. I'm gonna go over and make one string, so click to one edge, right click to finish, and then I am gonna come in. So I've just seen where the shape is. I'm gonna come in, and then I am gonna move it to where the guitar thing starts. Okay, alright, so I've got the first string there, and now what I want to do is set this up, and then I'm going to use this base one to do all of the others. So I'm going to go in with my line selected. I'm going to go into vertex mode, and what I want to do is I want to right click and find where it says refine. So what refine does is it adds more segments, vertices to your original line, and it's non-destructive as well, so you can delete them. So if you've made too much, you can just select and press the delete key. It's nice and simple. So what I'm going to do is so here I've refined the string here, and it's going to go up slightly, and then I'm going to make a bunch of refinements and make it look like a knot around. Yep. So I'm going to click refine here a few times, and then just say this is where I want it to end. This is where I want it to end, and then I'm just gonna come around the opposite way. Whoops. Select like here, and let me refine it again and move. Okay, so what I want to do with this now is I want to right click and make sure that this is a smooth. So I'm changing the tangent so it becomes a smooth tangent rather than a corner. And then once I've done that, I can zoom in and try and fix it a bit more smooth. Actually, the last one I'm going to make a bezier, so I can move it out. Let's move this one in. Move that. Okay. I am also going to refine the edge bits here. So let me put 2 refinements in there. And then again here, just before the neck. And then I am going to attempt to wrap it around again. So let me put stuff here. I'm gonna then select it, move it. Actually, I want to put a refinement right here because this is where it will start to dip. Pull it down, across, down again. Out, and then over and down. We can always add more. Alright, and the next step is we want to see this. We want to see what this string is like in a polygon form. So we're going to go to rendering in the command area tab. We're going to enable in render and enable in viewport. Now we've got a big chunky string. We're gonna say we want the size, mine is on 1 right now. We're gonna want the size to be around, mine is gonna be -20, that's still chunky. 0.1, 0.15. Okay, I'm gonna put mine at 0.15. And then what I'm going to do is make sure nothing is selected, like we're not in any we're not in any selection on. And then I'm gonna just duplicate that again, one, and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's made 5 copies for me now. Okay, and then I'm just gonna make sure that it's centered to each of the knobs here. And actually what I can do is, if I refine it one more time here, I can bring this one in. So you can refine, because even though you can see it as a polygon, it's still actually a line tool. And then I'm just going to bring this in. And yeah, we can do the same for all the others. But now we've got the initial shape of everything. And I think we're missing some things here on the handle of the guitar, but we can always implement that later. Okay, so let me select the second one, go to modify. I'm going to select the vertice, and what I'm going to do now is, because we've made a bunch of vertice cuts here, we can just select a bunch of them here, and then we can bring it over to the next spoke thing. So let me select that single one and bring that down. Actually, so I want to bring that across here. Oh, and what I forgot to do was make these into smooth as well. So select and smooth. There you go. And you can tweak all of these to make it work best for you. So let me actually move it over a bit. I want to move all of these tiny bit over, just so they look like they are going to fit in. Just deselect off of. Okay, that one looks fine-ish. Maybe just a tad over. And then I'm going to select vertice, and we actually want to bring the whole thing over, so I'm going to select from this head over. So it's going to be like wonky, say about here. Actually, no, we can leave that here and bring that over, just so it makes more sense. And then again, select and bring over. Okay, now actually look, let's do a cheat, because we've done that already. I'm gonna delete these 3 down here, and then let me just modify this a tiny bit more. Bring it in. What I'm gonna do is use the mirror tool. So select it, use the mirror tool and mirror these. Use the mirror tool and mirror these over. So I'm gonna select these 3, and then we want to also mirror in the Y. So I'm gonna go over to the mirror tool that we've used, mirror in Y. I want to copy, and then we're gonna offset. So press OK, and I'm just gonna come around here so I can see what I'm doing, and then pull it over like yonder. Okay. Alright, now what I'm gonna do is, now we've got the mirror stuff done, I'm gonna come back over. I'm going to then select these dots per string, and then I'm just gonna shift them so they're more centered. Like so, and same with the top. Okay. And then just to finish, I'm just going to attach everything, nice and simple. Attach, 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 attach. Alright. And there we have it. We are finished. Let me throw a light in there. Standard light, skylight, bam, cast shadow, and render. These slow renders. Actually, to finish, let me put a floor in. So I'm going to throw a plane in. Ah, do you know what? We forgot one more thing. Got one more thing. The strumming areas, which I probably did or probably didn't. Okay. So what I'm going to do is create a box. This is going to be a nice simple box. Let's just bring it up. No sides, no edges, no segments. I'm going to use the select and place tool. So this is going to come onto the guitar. Height we want very low. Width we want very thin, and then we're just going to make it go across like that. So these little things here, these are where they sit on, and then I am going to just bring them out like so, and we want, I don't know how many copies I want, I'm going to do a lot and delete as necessary. Oh, look at that, nearly perfect. Alright, and then I am going to attach, whoops, all of this as well. Okay, and that give yeah. Alright, cool. So that is done, I believe. Let's just drop a standard. Okay, and that is the guitar. Alright, so I'm gonna come off now, but leave this up running so it doesn't lose anything, and come and speak to you individually. Alright, in a bit.